Good morning, everybody. I was actually originally going to be on stage together with Sanna Lukander. She's the Vice President of Learning at Rovio. Unfortunately, she had to leave for Finland early, and she couldn't make it today. If Sanna would have been here, she would have probably introduced me as the fluffy philosopher guy. And well, quite frankly, that's probably what I am. My background is, I have a PhD in theoretical philosophy, which is pretty much the nerdiest thing you can study at the university. But it's cool because owing to that degree, I get to wear these Sheldon Cooper-style t-shirts. And that's pretty fantastic. 3.5 years ago, Sanna started working at Rovio, at that time as the Vice President of Book Publishing. And Angry Birds had just been downloaded more than 1 billion times, being by far the most successful entertainment product ever made in the history of humankind. Right now, I think the up-to-date download figure is 2.8 billion. So it's almost 1/2 of the entire population of our planet. That's kind of crazy. But Sanna, she has a background being a Montessori teacher. And when she started working there, one of her first thoughts was, with all this success, with all this engagement that Angry Birds is generating, couldn't you do some greater good than just generate mean profits? So she started thinking about how could you leverage Angry Birds in learning. And we started working at around that time, thinking this through. Now I have to say one thing for Sanna. She's an amazing person. It's been absolutely mind-blowing working with this mad genius almost. And when she started doing this, the first thing she decided was not to create an app that asks you how much is 2 + 2, and then slap a bird on it and say that this is a learning app from Angry Birds. So she really wanted to do her homework. So we dug deep into what's going on when we learn, what's going on when we play a game, how could you merge the two? How could you create an amazing learning game? And it turns out that it's really, really hard. Actually, if you go to the iOS or Android App Store and search for an educational app or a learning game, out of the thousands of titles there, maybe 4 or 5 are any good. It's really, really difficult to create a great learning game. Now, this actually reminds me of something. I was kind of like, because I get really nervous when I have to speak publicly, and I was kind of scared that I'll forget this, but fortunately I didn't. Because yesterday, something really, really perplexing happened. My mind is still reeling over this event, and I don't understand that. Well, luckily, for a philosopher, it's more interesting to have a cool question than a cool answer, so I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But here's what happened. We had 2 workshops in the afternoon about learning game design. So we created this idea with Sanna, that maybe we could introduce the design principles that we employed with Rovio and with other companies in creating these learning games, and then see what you guys could come up with. And I was like, if I'm being perfectly honest, I was expecting something like, if you take a look at a typical learning game, it's like 2 + 2 with a rabbit. So this was my kind of level of expectation. And what happened yesterday was that in these 2 groups, 100 students each, every single one of the ideas that you guys presented was absolutely amazing. And I'm saying amazing on the level that I've worked with some of the best game designers on the whole world. And these ideas that I heard yesterday were better than 90% of the ideas that I've ever heard from professional game designers. So here's what I'd love for you guys to do. Because this is really, I'm still trying to figure this out, and I really love those ideas. And it might be, I don't know what I can do with them, but some of them, there are ideas about biology and creativity and physical exercise and the world peace. And if I may ask you, you guys who were at the workshops, you can see my Twitter handle there. It's a bit long, it's a bit difficult. I'm sorry, I come from Finland. But if you could maybe tweet some of those ideas that you came up, because I wasn't able to write them up, I wasn't able to get you guys emails. So just tweet me, I'll get back in touch with you guys. Or if you want, you can use the EF app to message me. So that would be fantastic. Okay, that being said, we did a lot of research on how learning games could be built. I wrote a book called Learning as Fun. You can pick it up as an ebook from Amazon. If you want a hard copy, it's available in Finnish and Korean. So if you happen to read in one of these languages, be my guest. I have absolutely no idea what the Korean translation says, by the way. And we discovered amazing things. We discovered, for example, what Nikhil was talking about is spot on. The way we work at schools right now, the schools are broken beyond all repair. Sorry about that. I mean, actually, when we started, we had this idea that we need to gamify or funify learning. But that's not true at all. Learning in and of itself, when it happens, is one of the most amazing experiences we can have as human beings. Think about those aha moments when you figure something out that's been going on in your head for a long time. Think about that when you really throw yourself at a challenge. I'm going to find out the answer to this question. When you get that feeling of flow, that sense of mystery, that sense of awe, that's when learning actually happens. Learning doesn't happen when you put people in rows, ask them to sit quietly, and then put somebody in front of that row that goes on droning 45 minutes or 90 minutes at a go about something that they don't care one single bit about themselves. That's not called learning, that's called boring people to death. So we don't need to funify learning. We don't need to even gamify learning. We just need to rediscover the fun of learning. There's a great quote by the most famous philosopher in Finland, Esa Saarinen. He once said, "The world is full of enthusiastic people with fire in their eyes. The problem is that unfortunately, most of those people are under 7 years old." But it doesn't have to be that way. Like Ken Robinson said yesterday, that creativity, that fire is in all of us. We just need to light it up, we just need to kindle it. One of the most profound findings that I discovered when I was researching my book, and this, mind you, is, as a philosopher would say, this is an ontological fact. Ontology is the branch of philosophy that deals with what there is, what exists, what doesn't exist. And it is an ontological fact that there are no stupid people, period. It's an absolutely undeniable fact that there are no stupid people. Let me tell you why. There are thousands of research papers by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, Carol Dweck, Richard Ryan, Edward Deci, that go on to show that if you get to work on your own pace, in your own pace, on your own level, with challenges that are challenging enough to be interesting, but not too challenging to be stressful, you're going to keep on learning. And the thing is, there are no stupid people. There are simply people who already know how to do something, and those people who quite yet don't know. And learning is a bridge from one place to the other. But let me tell you something, a little example, a little bit more closer from home. Because having witnessed this journey has been an almost life-changing event or series of events in my life. This is Paavo. Paavo is my younger brother. I come from a relatively large family. There's a total of 8 of us. There's 5 guys and 3 girls. And we were all pretty good at school. We were like A-, B+ kind of like oscillating between there. except for Paavo. Because Paavo sucked at school. And if you think about, for a teenage boy, growing up thinking that I'm the stupid brother is not a very good place to be. Unfortunately, our schooling system did nothing to alleviate this. One day, his math teacher took him to the side. The teachers constantly kept telling him that he's stupid, he's lazy. And one day, his math teacher took him to the side after a class and told this 14-year-old boy, listen, Paavo, promise to me that today, after school, you'll go to the hardware store and buy a shovel, because that is the only thing you'll ever amount to in your life. And my brother was completely devastated. But my brother, unlike so many other people in the world who live their whole life with this idea that I'm no good, he was lucky because he turned on the TV one day, and that changed everything. On the TV, there was a documentary by BBC on digital imaging. And Paavo, 14 years old, he was mesmerized, he was glued to the screen, and he drew it all in. And he went on and on and on about how cool this stuff, you can do stuff like that with a computer and all this. And then our dad installed Photoshop, PaintShop Pro, these digital imaging software on our computer, and he went to work. He found his flow. He found a way to work in his own pace. He worked day in, day out, drawing, creating images, processing photographs on the computer. One day our dad, when he had worked for 14 hours non-stop, not taking a bathroom break, not eating anything, and he went to him like, I wonder, what are those teachers like, doing in school? I mean, how can they call you lazy? How can you call somebody who works 14 hours non-stop lazy? So he graduated from high school with not very good grades. Mysteriously enough, his grades went up slightly after he discovered digital imaging. Not much, but slightly. He graduated, he founded a small company. I remember him telling when he was 19 years old, his eyes were lit up. He was like, Lauri, people actually pay me money for doing these pictures. How cool is that? Then he went to work with a small company in Helsinki, the capital of Finland. The company started growing. Paavo started getting better jobs there, and eventually he became the creative director of this company, which in 2012 was chosen as #1 agency in Finland. And that spring, he won the Webby Award for a global campaign he designed for Nokia's Lumia phones. The Webby is called the Oscar of the Internet. It's the most prestigious prize you can win in the whole world for the job that he does. These awards were given in a ceremony in New York, where I hear there were celebrities like Lady Gaga and David Bowie handing them out. And Paavo seriously considered printing a copy of the award, putting it into frame, buying that shovel, and sending the two back to the math teacher. There are no stupid people. There are simply people who already know and who quite yet don't know. Okay, I'll say one more thing and then I'll stop. I believe we are at the brink of a revolution, at the brink of a fun learning revolution. The way we have been taught to learn doesn't work. We need to learn to love learning. We need to learn to teach so that learning actually happens. And in this, we have so many awesome ways to proceed. Many of the things that Nikhil talked about, like the Summerhill, the democratic school system, flipped classroom, there are so many tools. I think still one of the best ways to create fun learning is to have a teacher who really loves what they talk about. If you have a teacher who has that fire in their eyes, that's one of the most awesome things to listen to. But games are, mind you, Zach, I'll do a little something here. Games are a game changer. Sorry about that. Because with games, you have all that you need for substantial learning. You have intrinsic motivation, you have flow, you have challenges that make sense to you, you have challenges you want to tackle. Games are, like Jane McGonigal said, they're hard work you want to do, they're voluntary hard work. And like Mo said, difficult is more fulfilling. And games get us there automatically. We're at the brink of a fun learning revolution, where games, learning games, are going to become as prominent as Angry Birds. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen through Rovio. I can see many companies in the world vying for this. But I say that in about 3 to 24 months, there's going to be a learning game that's going to change everything. And what I mean by changing everything is that the way we will start learning will be something that we haven't been able to dream upon. We'll be able to learn quantum physics or algebra or strange languages just by playing a game. Well, when I started researching for my book, I thought that this was kind of a tall order. It doesn't sound very realistic, does it? But then, after doing the research, I realized that all the theoretical research backs it up. There's neuroplasticity, the way your brain works. There's the growth mindset research of Carol Dweck. There's the flow research of Csikszentmihalyi, and so forth. But that wasn't enough. I mean, okay, so it works in theory, so what? But then, I did what every self-respecting mad scientist would do. I started experimenting with my children. And I took about 50 of the learning games that I thought were any good, and I installed them on their iPad and gave them the iPad. No instructions, nothing. I wanted to see how they figured out, what they do with them. And they started playing the games, and one of the games that they enjoyed most was this game over here called Dragon Box. It's by a very small Norwegian studio called We Want to Know. And one day, in the summer of 2012, I saw my 3-year-old son Lucas sitting on a sofa playing this game. His eyes were on fire. He was like completely drawn into it. He goes, Dad, come see what I'm doing. And I'm like, I wonder, what is he playing there? And I sat down next to him, and I almost fell off the sofa immediately when I saw what this kid was doing. My 3-year-old son was cracking algebra, solving equations with more than 4 parameters in them. And it took him about 10 seconds each. And I can't do anything like that myself. These guys, they've been able to verify these results with 46,000 children in Norway and in Washington State in the United States. So check it out if you have an Android or iOS phone. You should just to see what the future of learning looks like. Because the future of learning is fun. We visited the White House last fall with Peter Westerbach, with the mighty eagle of Rovio. And the event that was geared towards leveraging games in educational learning ended with the director of the Office of Education Technology in the White House saying the following words, which I believe are absolutely true. We win when learning and fun are indistinguishable. Thank you very much.